folks, if you want to take this time to go ahead and sign in, I have just put the link in the chat box. But I'm going to give everyone a couple minutes to do that and to give a few people some more time to get in here.
You're gonna hide that thing, okay? If you're listening, gotta get my candy corn. Gotta get it. The poll was done for the National Confectioners Association. Here's another important factoid here: 31% of parents admit that when they take candy from their kids, they're actually stashing it for themselves. Of course they are.
All right, like I said, welcome everyone. I'm going to put in the chat one more time the link to sign in, and I'm going to be in and out of chat, but if you see someone come in and I miss them, if you wouldn't mind sharing the link to that, just copying and pasting what I just typed in there, and that way we make sure that everyone gets credit for being here today. So welcome. Today we are doing a session over the Read and Write extension. That is available to all staff and students in our district. If you have not used this tool before, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised and maybe even a little mad that you didn't hear about this before today. It's an incredibly great tool for students who are just learning how to read. It's a great tool for students who have trouble reading, who need a little bit of extra time to get that work done. But in total, it's a great Tier 1 intervention for all the students in the district, because it doesn't just fit in a few rules. It's not just for younger students. You as teachers can use this tool as well. And so we're going to go over today. Actually, let me go ahead and share our agenda for today. We're going to be talking about really in general, what are extensions, but then we're going to look specifically at the Read and Write extension. We're going to go over all of the toolbar in Read and Write and go over what those things are. And then I'm going to give you some just classroom ideas on how you might use this for some Tier 2 or for some Tier 3 interventions. But if you're at the younger grades, again, it might be a Tier 1 intervention that you can do as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share, well, actually I'm sharing, the tab I'm sharing now, no, you wouldn't be able to see all of it. So let me stop presenting that and present my entire screen here. And the page I'm sharing, I wanted to share everything, but I want to draw your attention right up here to the top right of my screen. And you can see that all these little buttons up here. Now, all of these buttons are different extensions, and you, on your Chromebook, should have quite a few of these extensions, not all of the same ones that I have. If you're on a PC, you're going to need to make sure that you are logged in to into the Chrome browser in order for these extensions to show up. And so let me go over that really quick. If you have never logged into a Chrome browser, right here, you can see my profile picture is right here. You'll have something there if you're not signed in, or it'll be a button that says sign in. If you click on that button, if you're not signed in, it will prompt you to sign in. And so I'm already signed in. You can see all the different ones that I'm signed into, but there would be a button here for you to sign in. And you're going to want to make sure that you're signed in under your school account, because your school account is attached to the premium version of Read and Write, and that's where you're going to get all of the tools available to you. Now, having said that, if you're on a Chromebook and you're logging in under your school account, the extensions are already going to be there for you. Okay, so the extensions are already installed for all of staff and all of the students in the district. There shouldn't be a need to do anything else on your part. So extensions in general, what are they? They're basically little add-ons that you can attach to your browser just to make it act in a little bit different way or add some more functionality to it. So if I were to kind of go through a few of these up here, I have a one called Bitwarden. It's a password manager that I really like. Here's one for Blocksy that was installed by the district. This one is the CK Authenticator, which is, I believe, the web filtering that we have. It's installed by the district. We have one for ClassLink, and I have one for Cami, and I've even got one, an eyedropper that lets me get the color off of web pages so that I can match colors really well whenever I'm doing presentations and stuff like that. But all of these here just help add to the functionality of the browser. Now, this doesn't apply, what I'm about to say doesn't apply to the extension that we're going to be talking about today, Read&Write. But in general, you do want to be careful when you're installing extensions. They're kind of like computer programs. There might be some extensions out there that aren't too good for your computer. And in fact, we're seeing some kids install some like mouse pointer extensions, and that is actually making it it's making it to where they can't do certain things inside of Google Classroom the way that that's intended. So you kind of have to be careful. The rule that I usually go by is there's got to be over about 100,000 installs before I'll even take a good look at it, just to make sure that what is out there is has been vetted by enough people to know that it's working as intended, right? So so that's kind of extensions in general, but I do want to share this too, because I never have this many extensions. I put it on here for this morning. I have a lot of extensions up here, and next to those extensions on the right hand side, next to my profile picture, there is a puzzle piece, and that puzzle piece will actually show you all the extensions that are installed. And you can see that I installed basically I'm showing basically every extension. I don't like seeing all that stuff on the top right, I'm not gonna lie. So I like my my pages clutter free, so I'm gonna get rid of all these extensions that I know that I'm not going to use today and just hide them. So I know that I need my Read&Write extension, and then I know that I'm going to show off this screenshot reader. Okay, so this screenshot reader, well, let me just say this. If you are on a computer and you do not see those extensions and they're not coming up for you, the best way to install an extension is by going to the Chrome Web Store or just Googling it. So go to Google and type Read&Write extension, and it's going to be the first and also the second link that show up. And so whenever you go to those, here's the extension. You can see that I already have, get that one in there. You can see that I already have it inside of Chrome, so it says remove from Chrome, but if you don't have it, it will say add to Chrome. This is the only extension you need for most of this stuff to work that we're going to be going over today. There are a couple extra features located with the screenshot reader, and I don't know if this one is pushed out, so you might want to install the screenshot reader. You might want to check it out whenever I do it today and make sure it's something that is interesting to you, something that you would find some usefulness with. The other thing that I'll say about extensions in general is that the more you have, the slower it could make your computer. So I'm using a PC. It's good enough to have quite a few extensions on there. Chromebooks, once you get 6, 10, 12 extensions deep, then your Chromebook might suffer for it. So try to keep your extensions on the lower end if you are noticing anything that is slowing you down. Okay. So what is the Read&Write extension? Well, I'll go over this first. This is the toolbar for Read&Write. And there's quite a few things here that could be helpful for you. And in fact, this is out of date a little bit because they've added one more feature. But you have things like predictive test, text. You can pause and stop reading. You can play reading. You can talk and type using buttons. You can use this for a screen mask. You can highlight things and annotate. You can collect those highlights. We're going to talk about all those things. And then there's some voice notes and some reading aloud that is there. But this is what the extension kind of looks like whenever you bring it on. Okay. Now to share this properly today, I have I've pulled up an article, and I have to change the way I share things. I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth. I have to change the way I share because I want you to pick up on the audio that's coming through. So we're going to do read and write. All right. So I have an article here, acid rain, killer rain. So before I go into every single thing of what this extension can do, I just want to go over the main things that you might use it for, the big picture stuff. So what I'm going to do up here on the top right of my extension, I know you can't see that anymore, but all I'm doing is that I'm clicking on the read and write extension. Just one click and it'll come up. And that has added this toolbar to the top of my page. Now this toolbar gives me the opportunity to do quite a few things with this paper that I have on my screen. And so, like I said, the big feature is I can highlight this text and click play. I'll stop it there, but you get the idea. So what does read and write do? It reads to you, okay? So it's gonna be a way for students to be able to get stuff read. Now I should have showed this while I was already doing it. If I click play up here, it'll start, but I can also pause it at any point, and I can also stop it as you saw. So I can, you know, if a student is reading and they need to pause it because something else is going on in the room, then they can do that. They're not stuck with just starting it. The way I have my read and write set up, and we'll go into the settings here in a second, it'll keep reading. After this sentence, it'll just keep going. It'll go through this entire thing. So I'll either need to pause it or stop it depending on what I'm doing. But you notice that it's going to highlight the sentence that you're in, and it's going to even differently highlight, I guess, the word that is being read at that particular moment. So it's going to allow not just reading, but it's going to allow the students to follow along with what's going on in a better way that wouldn't be available to them without it. And so, I'm going to keep going here. So even though I only highlighted this section right here, it did keep going. It did keep reading beyond that certain section. And so that's just kind of something that you need to be aware of. But the settings can change for that. Now, these three buttons are the main features right here: the pause, the play, pause, and stop buttons. But we're going to get to all of these here in 1 second. But I also want to draw your attention on the far right.
Stephen?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm not hearing that on my computer. It's not reading it to me.
Can anyone hear that? No? Oh, bummer. Okay, so it's reading it very well to me. Let's see what I can do to get that.
I think it's because you have your headphones on, so it's going to go to your audio. It may not be sharing.
So it shouldn't affect that because the presentation should take over as well. I was trying it out yesterday and it did work. So I'm going to make sure that share audio is good, and then we'll do that. All right, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. No?
No, nothing on that one.
Let me unplug my headphones and we will see. I'll have to change this so I won't be able to hear you guys for a second. Give me 1 second. No. Well, that is a big bummer. You might have to just trust me today. Trust me, it is reading it. And if you had this, if you go ahead and open up a document with some writing on it, you can try it out on your end. Let me try stopping the presentation one more time just to see if we can refresh it with my headphones out. All right, share audio is good. All right, let me share this tab, share that tab, and click play. Nothing, right? Let me try one more thing here before we just go on and say it's gonna have to, you have to trust me a little bit.
Created the effects of acid rain, and more importantly, we all can do.
Now we're probably going to get some feedback because the way that I'm routing all of my audio, but it'll help for it to so you can see what's going on. So okay, so let me play from the beginning what this sounds like, and just so you can get an idea of what she sounds like whenever she's reading it.
Every time you turn on the television or take a ride in a car, you could be contributing to a problem called acid rain. In this essay, you will learn how acid rain is created, the effects of acid rain, and more importantly, what we all can do to prevent it.
All right. So, and again, it'll keep reading after I push that button. Now, I'm gonna draw your attention right over here to the options over here, and we're going to answer that question right now, Michelle. If I click on options, there's a few different things. There is some help and support as well as sending feedback. If you click on the help and support, you are given the opportunity to put in basically a support ticket, also to look through some help articles that are already on there. And the help articles are okay. They're you know, if you're used to, you know, just reading a lot of stuff, if that's your jam, then this is going to be great for you. But I'm going to go ahead and click on options, and I'm given the opportunity here for a few things. First of all, the speed. So I can slow this way down, and I can speed it way up depending on the speed of the reader. So I'm going to just change this right now, and I'm going to click OK.
Every time you turn on the television or take a ride in a car, you could be contributing to it.
All right, we're not going to listen to all of it, but you can see that slowed it down quite a bit, and that was only at 25. So if you really need to slow it down, you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and bump it back up. If you don't like the accent that they have, you have a lot to choose from. Now, having said that, the way that this works is if I click the Spanish, let's see, where is it? Spanish Monica or Jorge, I guess. It's not going to translate that to Spanish, okay? So that's not what this does. It's not an automatic translator. What this kind of does awkwardly is phonetically changes the words to Spanish, and so it's a really jumbled mess. Now, if you have your article in Spanish and pick Spanish, it's going to read it in beautiful Spanish. But unless you have the article in Spanish, it's not going to translate it in that way. I like is it UK? Yeah, UK Serena. She sounds the best to me.
Every time you turn on the television or take a ride in the car, you could be contributing to a problem called acid rain.
That's fancy, right? That's good stuff right there. So I like that one. But again, there are quite a few that you have to choose from. With the caveat again that if you choose a different language, it's not going to change it to Spanish for you, okay, or any other language for that matter. Now, you can translate entire articles if you're in Google. If you click on, I believe it's the tools. Maybe it's not the tools. I should have checked this before. I just remembered I could do this. So I believe it is tools. Where are we at here? Yeah, translate document. So here's the translate document. You could translate it to Spanish, and then Read and Write would be able to read it. But that would be something that you could do with, more as a tier 3 intervention for specific students in your classroom that need that intervention on their done with them. Okay. So going back over to the options over here, I again had mine on continuous reading, but if you don't want everything read and you only want it to read certain things at a time, you could change this and change it to only to speak on each word or speak one sentence at a time. Now there is a translation here. The translation is in Spanish, and we're going to get to that translation here in a little bit. But that is not the speech translation as it is right now, even though it's under the speech. If I'm doing this wrong and I just haven't been able to figure it out, let me know as we go through. Now we're going to go through the rest of these options here in a little bit, but I wanted to take any questions just on the speaking feature, the reading out loud feature. If you have any questions about that, I'm going to go through the chat really quick. Okay, slowing down is the only question that I can see. All right, if there's no more questions, there are quite a few other features on here. So we're going to go over those. I'm going to tell you which ones I like, which ones I love, and which ones I am confused on why they needed to add to this. The first one I'm confused why they needed to add to this is the check it feature. Now, the check it feature will check is kind of meh, because I have the check it feature down here. Now, without read and write, you can see that it's going to highlight things that are incorrectly spelled. It's going to question my my use of the words here in blue, but it's not picking up on everything, I guess. So maybe this is the benefit here, is that if I click over to the check it feature, then it kind of takes over, and now I have quite a few additional items that need to be checked. So we have the wrong use of the word dear here. So if they click on that, then they can change that to the correct usage of the word. In addition to that, words that are spelled wrong, it's going to give them options on what they could have chosen. A lot of these functions are built into Google, so this is one of those things where it could be good, but it might not be, depending on what you're trying to accomplish for the day, I guess. Here we go. I can fix that to suitcase. Let's see. In the train station, 4 or 5 hours. This is the wrong use of the word for. So yeah, we're looking for FOR. 4 hours. There we go. And so I can just keep going through and let read and write check this document for me to see if there's any issues that have come up along the way. There's other extensions out there that do stuff that might even do it a little bit better, but because this is the premium feature, then we do get the check it, and while it might not be as good as something like Grammarly, it is pretty good for what students might be needing this for. Okay. So this is one of those, like, I don't know how much I would use it, but there you go. In addition to that, we have one that I really don't get the point of too much. You might find a great use for it, but it is the prediction feature. And what it does is it predicts what I might type. So if I'm going to say, I'm going to meet you at the store at 10 o'clock tonight, I see it's giving me options. So I am going to... Now it does read these to you whenever you hover over them. I don't see the word meet, so I'm going to meet you at. So it's okay. I don't see the word store, so I can change that. But I don't see too much the teaching benefit of using that. If you like have this vision for the way that you're going to use that, share that, because I don't know. It's cool, but I don't know how useful that is inside of our classroom. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. Okay, continuing on, the things that are really, really nice. I'm going to turn off that prediction. Things that are really, really nice. I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to check out the dictionary tool. And what the dictionary tool does is it kind of makes this a draggable, floatable dictionary that I can add anywhere on my screen. And if I were to highlight anything, so if I highlight the word television, then it's going to give me the definition of television right there. And it's going to tell me all the dictionary terms for that. And I can click on different words and it will automatically show on the left-hand side. Now, not everything is in the dictionary. There are words that I have found before that aren't on here, but it's pretty good at giving definitions of words. Now, in addition to, you can also it can also be read.
Noun, an area of water surrounded by land.
So it's not just the dictionary. You still do have the features of the of read and write built into this. But in addition to the dictionary, you also have a picture dictionary, and it opens it up separately. And so let me put them side by side right here so that they can have not just the definition, but then a picture definition as well. So if I go to television one more time, I get the definition and I get the picture definition that goes right along with it. Now, some of them are, you know, I don't know if that shows off the word important all that well. But trying its best, I guess. What's nice too is that these are you can save these, so I can copy this image and actually paste it right into my document if I wanted to. So I can use the dictionary images as they come up whenever I need them. So if I look at pond, it's going to give me the definition and the picture and so forth. So you get the idea of how kids might use that. Nellie, it might help the ELs form sentences with the prediction tool. It could, yeah, it's going to give them the right context on how to put the words in there. So maybe that's a good use for it. Dictionary tool, though, going back to this one, again, it's kind of straightforward, but you can move these around to get them out of the way. You can do a few you know, things like that just to get what you need. And if I were to go back into the check it, all of these, if I'm using check it, then all of these work alongside, even if I have that other tool going. So even though I have the predictive text, if I change it to that, even if I have this on, it's still going to have the dictionary here as well. So, and they can quickly kind of go through and pick the right word that they want to use in that context. Okay. So that is the dictionary tool. Continuing on, I'm going to come back to the screenshot reader because I kind of have to change from where I am during this to go over to that. The audio maker, what this will do is you can highlight this entire thing that I have here, and I can click on the audio maker, and it will actually download, and you can see that there's a progress bar underneath that, but you can download the copy. Now, because I'm only sharing one tab, you're missing the fact that my audio just got downloaded into my downloads folder. So let me switch over to my entire screen here one more time, and you can see the audio did get downloaded. So if I were to click on that and open it,
acid rain, killer rain. Every time you turn on the television or take a ride in the car, you could be contributing to a problem called acid rain.
So what this does is it makes that file portable, I guess. You can put it on you know, on an MP3 player or you know, on your phone for a car ride. You could do a few things like that. You could also put it into your Google Drive, the audio, and share that Google Drive out, and it will share the audio using the link feature inside of Google. Now, having said that, you're only getting the audio, so you're not getting the highlighted words and everything going, you know, highlighting as it's being read to. So it does obviously lose some functionality. It is only the audio, but it is available to you. So we talked about the dictionary and the picture dictionary just a bit ago, but there is also a Google search that is built right in as well. So if you want to, which is the next button right up here, if I were to just click on that, it's going to open up a new tab, and it's going to search for whatever I selected. So if I select acid rain, killer rain, we might even see the original article that I pulled this from. So let's see, let's do a web search. And what is acid rain? No, we're missing it. So it's going to search exactly what's on there. Now, having said that, I guess something good news is we do have safe search built in for all of the students. So while I'm sure some things might be able to slip by the filter, it does a pretty good job. Does a really good job of making sure that the search results that the students get are of the safe nature that they need to be. Okay, So I'll just kind of put it like that. Okay, going back over here. Now, there also is a screen masking feature. We've seen this screen masking feature on different tests that are available for, you know, I remember seeing it on a reading test, you know, for our state test a few years ago. But what it's going to do is it's going to follow the pointer or my mouse around, so and highlight, or I guess darken out everything except a line that goes across there. Now on the far left, you can see that I do have some options. I can actually move this around, put it a little bit closer if I need to. But these options will give me the opportunity, first of all, if I click in the middle, it'll stop it. But I do have some additional options on this as well. And let me actually stop it so you can see the options of changing what the background color looks like, what the reading light color looks like, and there's quite a few things. Background opacity, excuse me, the reading light opacity, and then you can do some wild things with this. And so I know certain kids really benefit from having quite a few different colors involved with that, and I'm going to kind of show off how for me it's distracting, but it might not be for them. Let's see, background color, let's go bright orange. You can do that. Yeah, Jamie, that's kind of my face too. But you can also change you can change the reading light color as well. So if you wanted, because I have my opacity set at 0, it's not going to do anything, but I can change that just a little bit to red and go from there. So for students that need this, it's a great tool because it gives them a lot of chances to make it exactly the way they want it to. And I can also change the height of this. So instead of being very thin, I can maybe, instead of 1 line at a time, I can maybe do 2 lines at a time. But I can go, you know, all the way up to there. Now I'm going to reset this to default. And so this is what it's going to come like. This is what it's going to be turned on if the students don't do anything to it. This is what it's going to look like right there. Okay. It's available and turned on every Chromebook automatically. So you don't have to do anything. The only thing they need to do is click on the extension to get it to get brought down. Okay. So let me turn that off and we will go on to my son's favorite thing. Now my son is in 2nd grade and he's brilliant, but he's lazy sometimes, right? And so he hates having to like find letters on the keyboard, and that just takes time. And so instead, I'm going to go ahead and click this. Now, because we're built in, actually, this is actually a tool that you can use this anywhere. So if I go to Talk and Type, because I'm in Google Docs, it's actually going to use the one that's already built into Google, which is fine. It's still giving you the opportunity to use it, but I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Acid rain seems like a really bad thing for the environment, period. I'm going to stop it right there. Acid, and so verbatim, it's going to tie, and it's going to keep up pretty well. You can speak pretty darn quickly. The one thing about this is because I said the word period, it put a period there. If I don't say the word period, it's just going to keep on going. So if they do 10 sentences at a time, punctuation's not going to be correct. Capitalization's not going to be correct, stuff like that. So it's not something that they can just speak and then check on and then just leave it. They're going to have to check to make sure that everything's correct, which, hey, that adds a little bit of extra emphasis on the how careful kids are and making sure that they're checking things. So you can use this as a great tool. Just have them read a document and then make the corrections on the document based on what they said versus what the article should look like. So, that's just an idea. What it'll also do is put an underline next to things that it wasn't 100% sure. There we go. That it wasn't 100% sure that of what we meant. So there's rain, but they're saying, well, did you mean rain or the other rain? And so there's only one of these here. But if you have a paragraph of text, these gray underlines are going to appear quite a few times throughout. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Now you can use this. Let me go in I'm going to share my Gmail screen, but I don't want anything shared that shouldn't be shared. So now you'll notice I'm in Gmail now, and the bar across the top is still there, and it kind of looks a little bit different, but for the most part, it's about the same. And that talk to text is talk and type is still there, even though I'm not in a Google Doc anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and there's not going to be a button that pops up. I'm just going to type. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us in today's session. And there it goes. And because I didn't turn it off, it typed that as well. So again, capitalization isn't correct on this. I didn't ask it to put anything else, but you can use that talk and type in different ways throughout G Suite and throughout the internet. It's going to input that text wherever your mouse asks it to be put. So continuing on, we have the translator. Now, the one thing, it's going to pop this up kind of like the dictionary does, and this will only do one word at a time. So if I do the word acid, it says it's not valid, I guess. So it doesn't have everything. So television. So this is where that speech on the translator comes in handy, I guess. So it's gonna read it correctly, but it will only do one word at a time. So I can't highlight this entire thing. It's only gonna do the first word of what it is. So which this is still useful. So don't think that, you know, well, it's only one word at a time, it's useless. It still has its uses. But it's not as robust as we would have liked. It's not going to put the wording in the correct spot. Now I have asked Read&Write about this, and they've said that they is something that they would like to do, which usually means like, yeah, we've talked about it, but we can't figure it out on our end. So you know, that's just something that I doubt it's coming soon, but there you go. Let me read this message in chat. Yeah. So it's going to use what it's actually using is the Google AI speech translation tool that they make available to companies that would like to use it. And so yeah, if you don't speak like 90% of adults do, or 99% of adults do, then you might have some issues with the way that it's getting brought in. What they say is that the more that you use it, even if it's just you, the more that you use it, the better it'll get at predicting those words. But I could see that being extremely frustrating for students that have a hard time speaking into that. So it's something to be aware of. Okay, so the next few things here, I'm going to get rid of these, are just cool. You can highlight or annotate, right? And so I'm going to highlight the word television, and I'm going to highlight it yellow. Because I'm in Google, it's actually using the highlight feature that I could have already used. So this doesn't do anything super different here. Okay, if I do this like that, or if I use the yellow highlighter, I'm doing practically the same thing. It's slightly different color, and that's probably for a specific reason, and I'll get to that. But you can highlight or annotate any of the words that you need your students to learn. And I can use any color for this. It's not going to make a difference what color I use. But I can kind of put together a list of vocabulary words for my students using all these annotation tools. And if I wanted to clear all those highlights, I would have to highlight the entire thing and then click clear. I'm not going to click clear because I do want to share these next two things with you as well. So if I click this button, this collect highlights, it is going to, and I'm going to go ahead and click it. It's going to ask me what colors I would like to. So I'm going to go ahead and do it all. And I'm going to sort this by position. You can sort it by any way that you want, but I like doing it with this because what it's going to do is it's going to create a Google Doc, a separate Google Doc, and it's going to put all of these words on there as they appeared in the text. So television was first, oceans was last, so it kept it in that order. And it puts together this list for you. And I could imagine especially maybe for younger students, kind of like a word search in the document that they're reading. So they need to find television, and so now's a good time. I'm going to go ahead and go through here, and I'm going to clear out the highlights. So now maybe you give them these lists of words. And actually, let me share this with you just as a good idea I thought of. You might say, Stephen, that's not a good idea. I'm going to copy this link and actually add it to the top here. So word search list. I'm going to, I did Control K, but I could have also right-clicked and clicked link. And I'm going to paste that link inside here. So now this document that I had just created is now linked inside here. And if I click on that, I can actually open a preview of this right over here. So now you could have the students, if you taught them how to do this. Now I don't need this for this tab here, but now the students, you could give them the task to highlight all of the words using the correct colors that they found in the document. So now they're going to have to read this, and they see the word television, so they're going to highlight it yellow. And let's see the word contributing. I'm going to have to read this. There's the word contributing, and I'm going to have to highlight it. So it's going to help with the just paying attention to the article. They're going to be looking for these words. Now that might be a little distracting as well because they're looking for the words and they're not really taking in what they're learning. But depending on the reading level of your students, some of them might benefit from this. Now beyond that, and I'm going to come back through here and put these back on. Beyond just creating a list of words with nothing attached to them, this is my favorite part of Read and Write, is you can create a vocabulary list as well. And if I click on it, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to open up a brand new document, and this one takes a little bit more time, but come on, where are you? There we go. And not only is it going to give me the vocabulary words, it's going to give me the definitions built in, as well as the picture dictionary, the pictures from the picture dictionary as well. So I have every single word, and I have the definition and the picture definition built into it. As well as that, there's also a notes feature, a box that students can use to type notes out as well. So this is great for vocabulary lists. It builds it for you within a few seconds, and you can take this, and just like we did before, you could actually, I'm going to copy this link one more time, and you could add paste the link in there, and again, they can open this in the preview, and they can have the definitions for each of these words built in, with the ability, if you gave them edit rights to this, they could also take notes on what the definitions would be. So it is a very quick way to incorporate vocabulary into your lesson. Okay, so we only got 15 minutes left, and we've got a few kind of big ideas still that I need to share. The first being but I guess before I go on, are there any questions? Because I'm about to leave this screen right here. Are there any questions on anything that we've covered so far? Okay. All right, so I need to clear out some of these tabs that I have open here. Now, this next one will depend on whether or not you have the screenshot reader, and I'm going to go back to this. The screenshot reader, let me just open up. Actually, before I go over to the screenshot reader, let's let me share this as well. So I've shared News ELA in some of my trainings that I've done before, and I love News ELA, but you are not limited with Read and Write to just being inside of Google Docs. Okay, so if I click on my Read and Write tool here, then I get my Read and Write toolbar that appears, and I can float this thing around anywhere I want. And so even if I give my students an article on Newsela or anywhere on the internet, I'm not limited anywhere, then I can also incorporate the
Why Avatar? The Last Airbender still touches millions.
I can still incorporate the reading function wherever I am. So if I give my students a reading, you know, this is a text level 7. This is why I love Newsela, because I can change this and go down to a text level 5 if I wanted to, just with the click of a button. I can highlight this, and I can highlight the entire article if I wanted.
There is a scene that stands out in the TV show.
And it can read to me. Now, because there are words on this paper, or on this screen, it's going to pick it up. So as long as you can highlight the words, you can use this button right here to play them. And this, again, it's going to go anywhere in the internet. Having said that, not everything in the internet is text, right? And so here is a newspaper article that we got from Carlsbad Local, and there's no words. This is an image, okay? So, but if I click on my Read and Write tool, it's still going to pop up. Now, if I click play, it's not going to play anything because there's nothing there for it to play. But this is where the screenshot reader comes in handy. And again, you do have to have the screenshot reader extension installed for this. So I'm going to click on my screenshot reader, and it gives me these little crosshairs. And I'm going to select, this right here. Now it's thinking, it's doing its progress bar here.
Senior Bull is open on the 8th of October by Don Eskins. Members of the Lois Spencer Senior Bowling League, on hold for the past few weeks, have finally gotten approval to begin bowling, and according to Senior League member J.W. Sutphin, the league couldn't be happier.
There you go. And it did a pretty good job. It got here and it said week X. It was kind of different there. It does a fairly good job. There's going to be a lot more errors here, obviously, than anywhere else, but it does pretty good. Now, the tools that appear here are the pause, play, and stop, but then you also have a copy feature. If you have a document that you would like to get read to them, you can use this tool. But if you as a teacher just want to gather that information and bring it into a Google Doc for them, then you can click this button. This is the copy button. I can go back into Read and Write. I'll start something here at the bottom, and if I paste that, I have everything that was read. And so you can see, have finally gotten, whatever that word is, but I can change it, so it's going to appear for me. And so it did a pretty good job of bringing that information over. And so the screenshot reader tool will let you gather information from pictures you've taken. You can take pictures of a PDF that you have printed out and have used for years. You can turn that into text using this screenshot reader tool right here. Hannah, I believe there are other accents. I haven't really looked around too much at all the ones that are available, but yeah. So let me go back to my notes here. I'm going to share this as well. So this is another, just a website. And I like going to this one, the Good News Network. They have a section just for kids as well. I kind of use these as like beginning of the morning stuff of, you know, just news that isn't sad. And because right now we need news that's not sad. But I'm going to bring up the reader tool as well. And again, because this is text that I can highlight,
Kelly Stobby runs an amazing...
I can play it. Now, having said that, there's a lot going on this page. So you have the Good News Network, you have all these links, you have this big picture, you have some, these aren't technically, I mean, I guess they are. They're advertisements. They're advertisements for stuff attached to this. So they're not just advertisements anywhere, but there's just a lot of stuff going on this page. And so that brings me to this next button right here, which is the Simplify Page button. So if I click on that, it's going to completely change the look of the page and only give me the text that I need to read. So this is really, really good for me that gets distracted by all those things, but for students as well, that all these blinking things and all these adverts are just making them distracted whenever they should be reading. Now, there's a few, you still have your toolbar here. So you can actually use a hover speech. So instead of selecting it, I can just hover over it. So it's going to change, it's going to add a couple things. Let me stop that. It's going to add a couple things here. I'm going to turn that off, but you still have your dictionary, your picture dictionary. You can still do the audio maker and web search and masking, and you can still annotate and provide vocabulary. You can still do all that stuff. It adds a couple things down here, and I'm actually going to start from the right-hand side. You can expand the spacing on the document just a little bit. You can change if they need. It's built in with Open Dyslexic, which is a very good font, but you can change the font as well as the font size if you have students who need that. You can change the color as well if you remember when kids are. This is more just me speaking. Whenever you used to make websites, whenever you're like in middle school, this is probably the way that it looked. But you can also, I'm going to come back to this. You can I'll do this right now. This is in beta, it's Discover. And what this does is it kind of turns the page, it reminds me of a Wikipedia article now, because now it added these underlines throughout. And if I were to click on this underline, it's going to pop up a little bit more context about what they're reading. So it kind of turns a page into the wiki style where they can just get more information just by clicking on something. Now, this isn't going to send them to a new page like Wikipedia was, but it's going to give them some more information along the way. So there you go. So they can click on what pandemic is, and they can click on what a thoroughbred is, and so forth. So because it's in beta, usually these things are a little bit buggy, and they don't promise that they'll always be around. But there you go. You can add it. The last thing is simplifying the page. You still have, you might still get a page that has a few additional pictures in it, like this one still has the horse in there. You can simplify it a little bit more, and it actually gets rid of a few things. I would be super duper careful with this, because this simplify, it basically it kind of starts off with levels, and so it's already simplified. If you click on it, it's going to be more aggressive in what it gets rid of. So yes, it's going to get rid of pictures, but I've also seen that like certain phrases, and this is a good way to show you. Actually, I'm going to go back to this airbender, and I'm going to use the simplified page. And so I have a few things here, but I believe it says Netflix right around here. Yeah, so Netflix. If I simplify that, now this is not an advertisement. This is just saying, this is context for the kids. It's saying that this was released 15 years ago, and it's got new viewers when it arrived on Netflix. They might need to know that for the article, but if I simplify it, some of that went away, and if I simplify it more, then that sentence even got bumped to actually Netflix is still there just a little bit, but it actually gets rid of sentences in the article itself, and so that's not good. So you don't really want to simplify too much. Just once is going to make the page a lot more readable for your students. Okay. So that is the simplify page, and I got 7 minutes left, and the last thing I needed to cover might be the best one for some of you, and it is the practice reading aloud. And what this does, I'm going to go, you can do it anywhere, so I'm just going to do it right here. Why Avatar: The Last Airbender still touches millions? I can have the students practice their reading. What this does is it takes the simplified version if it wasn't already there. So if I were to have taken the page with all the advertisements and all that, it's going to put it in this format. It's going to simplify it for me. And if I wanted to, now there's still the features right here above, but on the right-hand side, what this is built for is for students who need practice reading, but that need help with it as well. They can practice it, and they can actually, well, I'll do this. I'll start right here and read. The show follows the adventures of Aang, who is 12 years old. He is the Avatar and the last Airbender. Resurrected from being frozen for 100 years, he finds his... Okay, I'm going to stop there. All right, so the student can play this. The show follows the adventures of Aang, who is 12. So they can hear how they did, But even better than that, they can send to their teacher. Now, they're going to have to know the teacher's email address. This is me. So actually, what this did, that's interesting. Because I typed in my email, I sent this to myself yesterday, it remembered who the teacher was. So I guess they only have to put in their teacher's email address one time, and it's going to remember it. But if you need to send to a different teacher, it can do that. And so what's going to happen is you are going to get an email. You're going to get an email that says your student just recorded themselves reading and wanted to share it with you. I did this on my son's account. So student Cy Morgan, here's the document that he read. Here's the recording time. And actually, it tries to give you the age of the reading that was on there. So I picked an article, I guess, that was 11.56. And if I click on this, it's going to take me to what he read. You're going to be able to see exactly what he read, and you can click play.
A group of Tennessee.
So you can get basically be face to face with the kid without actually being face to face with the kid. You can read to them, that you can have them read to you, and then you can check and see how they did. Now, we don't have Fluency Tutor. Okay, this is not something that we have purchased in the district. But if this was something that a principal felt extremely strongly about and wanted to purchase it for their school, then we might be able to do this, because what it does is you can actually score the passage that they have just read. So if I play,
a group of Tennessee high school students led by.
So if I notice maybe this wasn't the word students, I can click on that and select whatever option. Maybe they hesitated before they said it, or they inserted a different word, or omitted a word, or so forth. You can grade this, and the details of that reading are going to appear on the right. And what can actually happen is, I don't want to delete it. Let me just go back. What can happen is, well, I don't see it right here, but when you go into Fluency Tutor, you can keep track of your kids from the first time they read to the last time, and you can see the progress. So it kind of builds in that information. Again, we don't have access to this. You can actually do a 30-day trial if you click on the Fluency Tutor and go for it. So if it's something that you are very interested in, give it a shot for 30 days. Take the data to your principal and sell it to them, and maybe it's something that they might be interested in purchasing. So it is 9:27. Let me double check my notes and make sure I covered everything I needed to. While I'm doing this, if you want to type any questions that you had. I think I covered everything that I was going to cover. Okay, well, let me post the sign in one more time. If you haven't signed in, please do that. And I'll just kind of say, this tool is extremely useful. For the most part, it's out there for the kids. There's nothing too hidden for them. They're going to know, just by looking at the icons that are on there, they're going to know that that's the picture dictionary, because it has a picture of a picture. That kind of looks like a dictionary book, so they're going to know those things to click on. But I think spending some time with them, just going over a couple of the things that you want to go over with them, would be an excellent use of your time. Before you go, I did say I was going to go back into the options. There are a few other additional options, and the reason I thought of that was because maybe getting rid of a few of those things if you wanted to. The prediction tool has certain features on it, changing the number of results. Check it. If you find an error, you can do that. We already went over the screen masking. You can change the language of the entire Read and Write app. And this is why I kind of thought about this, these are all of the features that are available. You can actually turn some of these off. So if you just know you're never going to use the prediction tool, you can get rid of that, or the check it tool, and those things start to go away. And so as a teacher, you might kind of walk your kids through a few of these things and say, get rid of these things because maybe they're not useful. Maybe you don't want 4 different highlighting colors and you only want 1. You can get rid of all those. And so just a few options there. So I did want to show that off as well, in case the 12 different buttons, or there might even be more than that, are a little too much. Maybe especially for your little ones, that could be something that you kind of narrow down a little bit. Okay. Now it's 9:30. So I'm going to hang out here and for a few minutes anyways to answer any questions that might have come up along the way. But I just want to thank everyone for attending this morning. We're going to be doing another one this afternoon, not over Read&Write, but over Equasio, which is actually the same company that makes Read&Write. They make a math-specific extension as well that is tremendous. So if you want to join us for that as well, I'll see you there. But other than that, I hope you guys have a fabulous day. So thank you.
Thank you.
Steve,
Yes, ma'am.
did you say this is available on a PC if we're working from home?
It is available on PC, and you're just gonna want to make sure that you're logged in on. So you're gonna want to make sure that you're using a Chrome browser and not Firefox or Edge or Internet Explorer or anything like that. You're gonna want to make sure you're using Chrome, and you're gonna just want to sign into Chrome, and it should come up automatically for you.
Okay.
And to sign into Chrome, I can't show you how to do that because I'm already signed in. But if you click on the button that's up here in the top right, there will be an option that just says sign in. Sign in with your Carlsbad Schools account, and it should come up for you. But if not, you'll just have to Google, Chrome extension Read&Write and install that, and it'll.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Steve,
Steve,
is
this
that
has
okay?
nothing to do with this, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
When you record these meetings, do you just record what you are presenting, or do the pictures of all of us show up?
So I'm going to stop the recording while I'm thinking about it. So what it does.